We had that blowout jobs report, and we're pleased to be now joined by acting U.S. Labor Secretary Julie Su. Julie, thank you so much for joining us, coming in on this very hot upside surprise when it comes to the non-farm payrolls number. What was interesting, though, is the labor force participation rate increased more than expected to 62.7%. Where do you see this supply coming from?
Good question. So yes, this was another incredible jobs report, right? 303,000 jobs created, bringing the total since President Biden came into office to 15.2 million. Unemployment rate remains at historic lows. And yes, the labor force participation rate overall increased, and that number actually comes a lot from young workers, from teenagers. The overall, just in the prime age workforce, remained steadier. So that's where that supply is coming from.
There's a lot of talk, though, this is also coming in from higher immigration, both documented and undocumented. Are you seeing that as well?
So our numbers demonstrate that that particular data point is coming from young workers, but certainly, a positive economy, a strong jobs, situation is good for all workers, immigrants included. So we are certainly also seeing, immigrant workers and native-born workers really be part of this this overall story of growth that's much higher than expected, not just this month, but over the last several months.
Jay Powell talked about this earlier this week. He didn't want to get political when he talked about immigration policy, but he said he wants to call the strikes and the balls of how he sees it, which is more immigration, creating a bigger economy with more capacity instead of a tighter economy. Is that what you see, a growing economy, maybe because of this influx of immigration?
Well, so we continue to see this tight labor market, in part because we're seeing growth in jobs and labor force participation rate high, right? But to your point, immigrants have long contributed to a strong economy. And so this overall high GDP, yes, is a function both of, again, immigration and immigrant participation in the workforce and overall participation. These unemployment rates being at historic lows are true pretty much across the board.
One area where we didn't see any improvement was manufacturing employment after a drop last month. We spoke about this last month, where there's a loss of 10,000 jobs in February. The president likes to talk about boosts in manufacturing space. Why are we not seeing more of that?
Yeah, that's right. So we've seen about, over 700,000 jobs in manufacturing created since the president came into office. This last month, we saw one of the industries of large growth was in construction, especially specialty construction. So these are carpenters, these are electricians. And so there's building going on. And you gotta, build the factories before you have people working in them. And so we've seen steady growth, but the manufacturing kind of follows the construction, and this is a moment of historic investments as part of the president's Investing in America agenda in both of those industries, and 2024 will continue to be a big year in manufacturing.
But Julie, when you look at the blue wall, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, these three key industrial swing states, a collective 39,000 fewer people are working in manufacturing than 5 years ago. Where are those manufacturing jobs going? And how uneasy does it make you that the blue wall is losing key manufacturing jobs?
So the president's been very clear. We are going to make things in America. We've invented them here. We should be able to make them here. That is part of the truly unprecedented investments in industries, including in manufacturing. I've been to Michigan. I've been to Wisconsin, and we're seeing working people in apprenticeship programs that are bursting at the seams. We're seeing people talk about a sense of security, about a career that they're now going to have that they didn't see possible just a few years ago. So that's the trend. The numbers don't lie. The numbers reflect that also. And again, we're seeing them in construction, which had really big growth last month, and we will continue to see growth. Again, there's sort of one has to come before the other, and manufacturing is an area of big investments and under President Biden. And I trust that those numbers will be reflected as we go forward.
Right, but less people have been working there since 5 years ago in those three states. Where are they going?
Yeah, so we're not afraid to tackle hard problems, right? And one of them is to reverse the trend that you're talking about. There was a long time trend before President Biden came in of manufacturing moving overseas. The president said very clearly, not on my watch, not anymore. That's a function of wanting the jobs to be here, wanting them to be good jobs that provide a pathway to the American dream, but also about a resilient supply chain. It's about our national security. And so all of those are part of the vision that he came into office with. And frankly, the growth that we've seen over the last 3 years was not promised. Most people said it could not happen. And across, again, all industries, there has been growth, much of it returning to pre-pandemic levels, right? We're talking about hospitals and healthcare. We're talking about local education. Local education returned to pre-pandemic levels for the first time this past month. And we will continue to see growth in manufacturing, not by accident, but because of the investments in the Investing in America agenda.
The unemployment rate, 3.8%. It's been lower than 4% for more than 2 years now, but that's not for everyone. The report shows unemployment rate for Black Americans increased in March. Why is this moving in the wrong direction for Black Americans?
So we pay very close attention to that. Again, if you look at the trends over the last 3 years, the black-white unemployment gap is at also historically low levels. That's because the president has also been very clear. We are not going to build the economy we want if we leave anyone behind. And so a lot of our work at the Department of Labor has been focused on making sure that there are apprenticeship programs, pathways to good jobs in all communities, including in the Black community. We did see an uptick. That the Black unemployment rate there was primarily for Black women, so we're keeping a very, very close eye on that, and we'll continue to work on closing that gap between Black-white unemployment.